Well, good morning, everybody. This is quite the turn of events. I very pleased. I have Tina in the background here. This is from Jason Saulnier, a tag he posted for me in a video from Western Australia. One Wayne Glew, his wife Eulania Glew, an older couple again in Western Australia, going through the absolute of Crown. They're awoken to the fact that all federal political parties and their counterparts are all sworn to the Crown, to the majesty of England, because like Canada, in the Five Eyes, these three countries, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all share the same narrative constitutionally. I've known this for a very long time. Wayne, Eulania, it's great to meet you. There is another professional couple, a little higher end than we are, that go around the academic communities. They're both high-schooled, high-end legal professionals, and they present throughout many academic institutions, a lot of which I talk about. It never hits mainstream in New Zealand. It stays locked away in high-end academia. Where Wayne, Eulania, I've been for the last 3 years full-time. I've been to every major academic institution in the United States of America, United Kingdom, and yes, New Zealand, Australia. The list goes on, all the way through many of the Commonwealth realms, non-Commonwealth realms, unitary states, and the very limited amount of federal states. Australia, New Zealand, Canada were all federal states suffering from Crown-embedded customary law. Absolute. It's all three of our constitutions. New Zealand is probably the least of amount of embedments, but Canada being the original, Australia being the second. Our institutions in this world are ruled illegal. And I'm going to just give you some basic facts to help you in your narrative going forward. I see you have a great following. At one time I did too, but a lot of people you'll find when you start going through the absolute truth, people will fall off. People don't want the truth, not when it threatens their perceived reality. This is a shared problem in the Five Eyes, meaning USA, UK, and the three Crown colonially embedded countries who are sworn to the Crown, embody the Crown. All the politicians work in unison. There is no party structure, as you say, not per se. That's the illusion of democracy. Again, that's for Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And we're going to go back through. I see you are really in touch with the monarchy, the history of it. So I'm going to make this very simple for you to fast track you and your wife into what is. And you will be able to research all of this yourself. And it will be backed up for you. It will help you going forward, because I see you're awoken, you're there, and you're ready to move forward. And it is good. Again, thank you, Jason Saulnier, for sharing that. It's huge. It warms me up inside. So let's just start from the very beginning of where this happens. We see the establishment, Australia 1905. We see Canada 1867. These are the original Crown colonial builds. The original ones. New Zealand is there too. These are the sick, depraved builds of a time when the world was Crown colonial. Age of empires, the absolute power of colonialism. Canada and Australia share some serious embedments unlike anywhere else in the world. You will never find any other countries besides those three of the Five Eyes. Crown land. Why do they call it Crown land? Why do we report to the UN that we have all of this massive landmass? Australia, its own continent, its own island, massive country. Canada, sharing that same North America with 3 other countries, but still a large northern area. We report to the UN that the density of our populations is small. It's small, the smallest in the entire world, except for the fact that Crown land doesn't belong to any of the people. It doesn't belong. It's embedded in both our constitutions that is the right of the monarchy. But who is this Crown monarchy? Wayne, I loved your video. You're right there, but I'm just going to try and help you a little bit here. This existed embedded in our Constitution. It was the Age of Empires. World War I happened. We had the League of Nations. UK, the British Empire, ran the League of Nations. Those 3 eyes, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, all sworn absolute to that monarchy. In comes World War II, the second colonial war. Do not be mistaken. World War I and II are crown colonial wars. All of those who participated in World War I and World War II were those nations who were crown, not necessarily UK, because we can look at Spain, Portugal, Denmark, Germany. The list goes on and on. There are 7 mighty powers from the Age of Empires. These are countries that, through a divine right of a crown, went out, found new countries or found civilizations, removed their population by placing theirs, and issued genocide, legal genocide. They did this through papal doctrine, many other legal terms through various churches, absolutely to the Pope, the Catholic Church. The divine right of monarchs who are God over the people because they're empowered by God. It's all over our parliaments and legislatures. I can go through, show you documented last year, me in Ottawa, all of the symbolism. The Parliament of Quebec, massive symbolism as it was. It hasn't been changed in all those years. We hit World War II. There's a big shift in World War II. Germany, one of the crown colonials. They had colonial empires all over the world. They were starting to step on France and the UK, the British Empire as it was. The crown of Britain, the crown of France, they all had crowns. They all administered this style of embedded crown colonial governments. World War II hits. London gets bombed out. France gets completely taken over by Nazi Germany, who has the exact same build at the time constitutionally as all the other crown colonials. They have Chancellor, which is the exact same crown definition as Governor General of Australia today, Governor General of Canada today. And you will find all of their defined crown roles of the former Nazi Germany matched UK, Spain, Portugal of the time. Axis ally were all crown colonials, and it was Russia and USA who were last to enter the war. They never joined the League of Nations because the former Soviet Union and the United States of America were, 1, not crown, 2, were federalist countries. Federalist, meaning a division of power, republics with democracy pure, no crown, no back door against democracy. Believe it or not, that's the truth. While communism reigned in the former Soviet Union on the federal level, all all of the 84 regions and attached republics of the former Soviet Union had their division of powers cemented. The exact same supposed division of powers we're all supposed to have as provinces or territories. There's different names, states, regions, obelisks for Russia. The list goes on and on. Even Switzerland has different names that they call provinces, territories, states, regions. Does not matter. They're all the same definition under federalism. World War II hit. Russia and USA did not enter the war right away. They didn't even join the League of Nations. Russia did only at the very end in World War II. Why is that? We have to go back in time to 1941, the Atlantic Charter, 1941. I'm going to say that again. You can look this up. The Atlantic Charter, 1941. It was a meeting in Newfoundland, Canada, representing all the Five Eyes, which is Australia too. President Teddy Roosevelt of the United States of America, one Joseph Stalin, Sir Winston Churchill, Prime Minister of the UK, and absolutely King George VI. I've been to the highest legal academic institutions in the United Kingdom today. I have all the original letters, the original documents. This is not a secret. It's just compressed and very hard to find in any mainstream sources because of the crown embedments of our politicians. And I'm going to go through that for you now. I know this is long. I know it's hard, but if I don't go through it step by step, people get lost. 1941, Sir Winston Churchill, Teddy Roosevelt met with letters from King George VI. The agreement between Teddy Roosevelt and then Joseph Stalin, the same letters, was that UK would absolutely get Russia and USA to join in the fight against fellow Crown colonial Germany and destroy it, but it meant destroying all Crown in the world from that day forward. King George VI signed off. Sir Winston Churchill signed off. The United States of America and the former Soviet Union under Joseph Stalin agreed to fight for the Allies. Hence your five allies, which are now the United Nations Security Council. We have China, USA, Russia, and then the decimated United Kingdom, the decimated absolutely France. France was taken over in World War II. UK was nearly extinguished. The British Empire was nearly extinguished by Nazi Germany. Their only way out was to make a deal with the other allies. You can look at China. China was never a colonial crown power. They were an imperial system, a 5,000-year imperial system, but they did not practice crown colonialism anywhere in the world. Never got into it. In fact, they were a victim of it themselves. World War II, crown colonial Japan as it was, exactly like UK, exactly like France, exactly like Nazi Germany, also too went for colonialism in the Asian world. What they did to the Philippines, the March of Death, what they did to China during their huge civil war. A lot of people don't like to look at history as it is. This was the deal made. This was the cementing by King George VI, who agreed to abolish the crown. We finished World War II. The victorious allies I just named to you won. They craft and create the United Nations. Inside that UN charter that every country in the world agreed to, forbids New World Order, gives national states Sovereignty. You can't invade other countries today. It's why all borders are protected. It's why filthy crown colonials like in the Five Eyes, you have Canada, Australia, New Zealand. They have weak militaries. They, to this day, still betray the Allies. They still follow the crown. Now, King George made a promise to those allies. Russia and USA have no history, any legible, credible history of the crown. They don't understand crown customary law. Not in their mass of academia. They share this blind spot. They relied on King George VI from 1945 all the way until his death in 1952 to fix the world, abolish all crown. And he did. He started that work for 6 years. For example, I can't speak for Australia. It's not my place to speak for UN states. That's your place in Australia. I'm just giving you an education to help fast track you. For Canada, our Supreme Court was built, finalized, cemented, sealed, certified 1946 following signing on the UN Charter. King George VI stamped our highest court in the land, which is equivalent to the Constitution itself, the same power of the Supreme Court to rule constitutionally. King George stamped that off. It was an independent judiciary. Upon his death in 1952, many things changed in the world. For us, the three I's, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, our federal politicians, upon his death, he did not complete the works. He was on tour in 52, starting with Canada. Next was Australia. You can look this up. It's real, credible, verifiable. I just got his fresh bio from the UK. It's brand new. I'm in the process of presenting that to all Canadians because I know none of them have ever seen it. King George VI was in the middle of amending Canada forever when he died. His next stop was Australia and New Zealand. That was his work. His health had failed. He had come to the end with cancer and all of it, multiple complications from the war. A lot of it, he was bombed out. He had poison gases. A lot of people don't know this about Elizabeth's father. He was a good king doing the right thing. He was abolishing the crown as he promised. But he died in the middle of Canada. And the Liberal and Conservative parties we have here federally, who held the crown power, had always assisted with the crown power, the two original parties, made a deal together, secretly, that they would pick up the crown without the Allies being any wiser, and they would put that on their head. They would take the federal crown. They would allow the provincial crown to remain. Our Constitution, federally in 1867, a crown colonial constitution, where right in our preamble, there is no we the people, there's no Canadian people, no Canadian First People, just like Australia. We give it to the UK, all our sovereignty, all our autonomy. We are not a true UN state, according to 1945 UN Charter. We've been that way forever. Australia, the same thing. New Zealand, very, very similar. Canada's the original crown. We are even worse embedded than even Australia, even though Australia is very close, very similar, almost identical in fact. We both share a vast amount of space. We report that Canadians have the most space out of anywhere else in the world, but that's not true. Our density measurements are actually just as dense as places like the UK and others in specific parts, because we don't have access to any of the great lands. They're called crown lands that belong to our federal and provincial politicians. We have federal crown land, we have provincial crown land. A title that changes with every election, and to all of those they appoint. You're correct. Millions of Canadians, just like millions of Australians, you can call it that 10 percentile, they swear an oath lawyers, doctors, public servants of every designation, anyone who goes to school to enter that government crown field, you swear an oath upon graduation to the crown, to that majesty. That majesty currently, in all those years, UK got wise. The royal family got wise to what Canada, Australia, and New Zealand did. They secretly crafted, since the 90s, a way to take back international control over all of their Commonwealth, beginning with Canada, Australia, New Zealand. How do they do that? They created the Commonwealth Charter in 2012. They created that. Canada signed on to it. Our then Prime Minister sworn to the crown, Prime Minister Harper, in 2012, officially signed off on it. So did yours, so did New Zealand's, and the list goes on and on through the Commonwealth, including India, who, even though they got independence, kept the crown positions of Governor General through the Lieutenant Governors to absolutely pick up King George VI's crown and place it on their head in the division of powers. This is what Russia and USA don't know. They don't know because they have no narrative of it anywhere in their academia. How could they? They relied on King George VI to get all this done. For many countries, Japan, Germany, Spain, Portugal, and others, this worked out very well. They outlawed a lot. But for many of the British Empire, the former French Empire, this didn't get completed. We see in South America, even through Spain, others who kept that crown. They have what's called juristocracy. We have King's Court. Australia and New Zealand don't have independent judiciaries. They have King's Court. What that means is, when you read the Constitution, the highest law of the land of our three countries, our three eyes, it means Governor General can pick up the phone on advice from the Prime Minister, call any Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice for us, that's Chief Justice Wagner, and say, "I'm sorry, Chief Justice Wagner, you're sworn to me. You will not rule on this case. Or if you do, you must rule this way, as per us, the Crown." And that's the Governor General on advice from the Prime Minister. Governor General sworn to the Prime Minister. Huge executive power, huge power to go around democracy. How do the provinces work? You have a superior court of every province and territory. You have a premier. You also have a lieutenant governor who is appointed by the Governor General, who was appointed by Prime Minister. Lieutenant governors are sworn to the crown of Governor General, who is sworn to the Prime Minister. You see the problem here? Prime Minister picks up the phone, tells Governor General, you call that Lieutenant Governor. You tell that Lieutenant Governor to call the Supreme Court Justice. You tell that province judge, this is how it's going to be. They do it. That's called King's Court. 950 years old, very much alive and well today in the countries of Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Sorry, there are other countries that do that as well too, that still have that system alive. Russia, USA have no idea. They have no idea. Don't blame them. They never had it. They don't have a concept of it. It's too far removed. To put it in perspective, the last time Russia even looked at it, Vladimir Putin hadn't even been born for more than 30 years. Donald Trump, Joe Biden were thumbsuckers, walking around with a load in their diapers the last time USA even looked at any of a minor crown. That was Haiti, 1934. So just imagine, everybody, this is the reality of where we are today. USA and the Russian Federation have no idea what exists and lives around them. USA constantly goes to war with itself, left and right over narratives stemming from their allies embedded with the crown. Everything they're sworn not to be constitutionally, USA is always at odds with it. Now, their constitution's strong. They catch it all the time, but it doesn't change the fact that the Commonwealth currently today is 54 nations strong. Maybe not as strong as it was in the height of the British Empire, but just as mighty, with almost 30% of the world's population, a $12 trillion combined GDP. When you open the Commonwealth Charter of 2012, you in there will find all the NWO that you blame the UN for. You'll find it there. It's all there. The narrative of the royal family, how they want to govern all of you, and they want to govern the world in that British Empire. That is the royal family's function. That's what they want to do. And they're going to keep doing it, because here's the problem, Wayne and Yulani, here's the problem. Your constitution that your federal and provincial leaders picked up the crown, put it on their head, and stole that crown. They were caught by the royal family. They said, we will rat you out to the United Nations Security Council, specifically Russia and USA, and they will abolish you. If you don't believe it, they abolished Nazi Germany, imposed a new constitution. They abolished Imperial Japan, imposed a new constitution. They abolished South Africa, imposed a new constitution. For Canada, it got so hairy during that period. In 1985, 1984's absolute crushing of the UNSC over South Africa, they voided their constitution, voided the election, voided the Liberals, Conservatives, and Labour Party. All of them. Wiped them right out. That's the power of the Allies. If you think that USA and Russia, whenever they come together and the other three go with them, think they can't do what they want to do, they do it. They've done it 84 times. More so than any other time in world history, all of it. So this is fast. From World War II to 2022, Russia, USA, with UK, France, and China have done unbelievably amazing things. Great things. Great things, contrary to what people wish to believe. They've gone in and decimated. South African apartheid abolished between 1984 to 1993. In that same period, Canada and our crown, our federal crown, abolished our criminal code, made up a new criminal code saying we adopt all of the international laws that you did to South Africa. Look, we're good boys and girls. We'll never be like that. Don't worry. Don't dig too deep. Conservatives did that. Their counterparts, the Liberals, win the following election in the 90s, and continuing from the absolute revamp of the criminal code, they abolished Canada from participating in the International Court of Justice, which is what happened to South Africa. The International Court of Justice and the 5 allies of World War II, the United Nations Security Council, destroyed them. There was no war, there was no nothing. That was the end. South Africa completely rewritten. Goodbye, crown. As it was, just like the Nazi Germans. Gone forever from this earth. No bombs fired, no shots fired. That is the power of the UNSC. This is the work I'm doing. I'm bringing Canada to the UNSC. You have an Aborigine problem, what Canada calls the Indian problem. We have an Indian Act, 1876. Exactly the same model as Germany's 1933 Enabling Act. It's not from USA, it's from Canada. Australia, you've got it too with your Aborigines. It's not my place to chase this down for you. I can't enter your UN state and go forward a narrative. It's your job to find your Aborigine Act that is exactly the same as Canada's Indian Act 1876. I can tell you yours is in the early 1900s. Much, much earlier than the 1933 German Enabling Act, all written the same under the same crown designations. Japan had the same thing. Look it up, you'll find the truth, you'll find your narrative. This problem of the original people was always a problem of the crown. We have a path forward that suits the United Nations Security Council. We have a plan to settle our country entirely, for the first people and all Canadian citizens, a we the people. In real constitutional conventions, we will bring a party forward. Hear me out here, Wayne and Yulani. You can destroy that crown. All you need is a political party to come forward to register with a shadow crown, listing all the crown positions, absolutely all lieutenant governors, whom your governor general is going to be, of all provinces, territories. Because in Canada and Australia and New Zealand, you cannot pass a single parliamentary bill or act, as well as any provincial territorial legislature, without the stamp of the Governor General Federal or the Lieutenant Governors of every province and territory. You can't. We bring that forward upon an election, just to a minority government. You don't even need a majority. You only need to be able to put the crown on your head and call yourself Prime Minister. As soon as you get that, you've automatically taken all the crown positions under you. That's why all parties work together, regardless of stripe. It's why provinces work with the federal government. It's the backdoor, not democracy route of the crown. Lieutenant Governor, Governor General. Premiers get wealthy, MPs get wealthy. You have a Privy Council completely outside of parliamentary democracy, a secondary chamber, which is actually the crown power, where all the bills are really written, where there is no democracy. The backbenchers called regular MPs, they're just there with their finger in their nose. That's reality. It's who's in Privy Council, and they're all sworn to the crown. Every one of them is anyway, but those are the insiders who partake in all that's against the people, always crushing the people. Premiers, legislatures do it too. Stuff your pockets with as much money as you can, because there are no rules of governance. How to govern or any accountability, none whatsoever in the very large Crown customary law embedded Constitution of Canada, which is also Australia and New Zealand. This is all verifiable, factual. You will find I've been to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Oxford. You name an institution. There are even more than 120 more most Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders haven't even heard of. You'll find I was there. Even MIT. That's true. Been to all of them. All of them. Spent 3 full years. I have the world's greatest academics. Greatest. I've had difficulty with Canada and absolutely Australia. I only have 2 from New Zealand, because it's very hard with the Crown oath sworn lawyer to ever righteously go forward with you. Canada quit the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, the real court. All the others are fake. There is the International Criminal Court, which Canada still belongs to, but Canada's created their own fake International Commission of Jurists. They call it ICJ Canada. Many Canadians fall for it. They run to their government thinking it's an international tribunal or an international human rights organization. It's not. It's hired by Canada's Crown, ministered by Canada's Crown, and it's part of King's Court. You go there, you're ratting yourself out to your government, who is the one abusing you. You lose, you lose, you lose. Judgments won in Canada for First Peoples or for Aborigines in Australia, any limited judgments that are won, the Crown makes sure the third class pays. Because Canada, Australia, New Zealand all have class structure. First, second, third. exactly like the Titanic, because we're all from the era of the Age of Empires Titanic colonialism. First, second, third. Easiest way to explain Crown customary law. Rich, wealthy, famous, friend of the Prime Minister, your first class. Second class are all of your business owners. Third class are all the working class. Now, in the Titanic, the captain doesn't go down with the ship, ladies and gentlemen. The captain and all the staff who are first class lock the doors, the sealed doors, to the third class to give more time for the first class to get the lifeboats. But there's only enough lifeboats for all of the first class who go first and just a portion of the second class. So not all businesses go forward. If you don't believe this analogy to be pure, accurate, and true, just look at lockdowns. Look at the domestic businesses destroyed. They targeted which businesses don't get the lifeboats. Just look at the pandemic. That is a function of Titanic law, which is basically the analogy for Crown customary law, which is Canada, Australia, New Zealand. That's it. Those Crown positions, if you make a shadow Crown position in a federal political party only, that's all you need. Because it's the federal party, once they take Prime Minister, they appoint Governor General. Governor General, sworn to the Prime Minister, appoints all Lieutenant Governors. You control all legislation, which means there isn't any. Because you can't pass in the legislature without the stamp from the Lieutenant Governor. No Parliament federal can pass any legislation without the stamp from Governor General. All the military, the justice system, the police must obey because they're sworn to the Governor General, Her Majesty. That's the truth. This is all Prime Minister has to do. Get elected in a minority government, and upon the day of election, state clearly and in writing, issue it out to the Crown positions, Governor General, Lieutenant Governors, issue out suspensions, notice of suspensions, which is privy of the Prime Minister-elect. They have to obey. And upon 30 days later, when the Prime Minister ascends to the throne, all his or hers Governor General and all Lieutenant Governors of the provinces are rolled out. He rolls out the new Governor General, crowned and certified on the throne. We all have it in all our parliaments. They outline and swear in all their Lieutenant Governors. And when you make a party that has these shadow crown positions with a platform that explains all this openly, honestly to the Canadian or Australian or New Zealand people, you say we're abolishing the crown. These people are sworn to do it. No act, bill of parliament or legislature will ever go through until all the people in every community reserved for us in Canada, Aborigine lands, I'm not sure the exact same terms, but it's the same thing. You commit to conventions in every minority language represented worldwide in your country today in the multiculturalism and absolutely all the First Peoples languages. That's what you do. A 1-year period of constitutional conventions by the world's greatest legal minds, historians, doctorates, and experts from multitude of nations in the world. Many from Canada, some from the Federation of Russia, even a select few from China, but it goes on and on. I have over 142 nations in the world today representing. All through Africa, you want it in Somalian, you want it in a range, you want it in Greek, you want it in Spanish, you want it in Portuguese. The list goes on and on and on. We have all the First Peoples languages logged, categorized in the United States of America. We will even bring forward those languages whether or not they've been wiped out in Canada, but they still exist in the United States, they'll still be offered, because you don't know. No man or woman over the age of 18 left behind. Constitutional conventions for 1 year, and for Canada, that's a cost of $161 million today. That's it. Half the amount that Canada gave away to Ukraine for weapons and for defense, even though that's not playing out really well. Justin Trudeau just handed over $340 million. Half of that is all we need to give the power to the people. I hope today this education helps you. There's much, much more. But Wayne, I hope you take this, you go forward with it. I wish you and your wife luck. I sent your wife a friend request. I clicked follow on your page. I'm interested to see more of what you do from Western Australia. God bless. And Tina, do you want to come in and say hello? Tina is Treaty 4. She's the love of my life. She's here.
Hi, everyone.
She's working on it too. She does you say it? The Native News?
Canadian Native News. I've ran it since 2006.
She's been at it a very long time, folks. She knows what she's doing for the First Peoples. This is our Shadow Governor General, love of my life. We have all kinds of Shadow Lieutenant Governors right now. We're trying to get Alberta going. There's some more phone calls to make. We had one. We lost it, but lots of applicants there. There's issues with holidays and other people. We're getting there. We're going to get it done. But this is the path forward for Canadians. It can be the path forward for Australians. It can be the path forward for New Zealand. Let's get rid of the Five Eyes as it is, because USA has no idea. And you know what? With Joe Biden and his unitary foreign policies, that's coming to an end too. Boris Johnson is busted on the board of the Commonwealth Charter. That got leaked out last week. He lost 5 members of his internal governing council, loyal to him for a long time. Boris Johnson's in bad shape. All of this is coming to light little by little each and every day, folks. It's up to all of you, the people, to share it, to get it out there. Keep going, because that's what we're doing. We're going to be the party of the Canadian constitutionalists. I wanted to do small c and big C. The government of Canada forbid it. I have logged what all the federal parties answered to Elections Canada, saying I would have to be communist before I could ever bring forward constitutionalism to the Canadian people. There will be no small letter case in any party abbreviation, no small c constitutionalism. Forbidden. They'd rather I take communism forward than constitutionalism. Welcome to the crown. That's how sick it is. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Pleasure to meet you, Wayne and Yolani, sorry. Bye now.
God bless.
God bless. Thanks, Jason. It was a great video.